Okay, hi everybody, Sensei Chris from the Total Limit Combat Dojo. So what we're going to talk about today is we're going to talk about kata number 3. Okay, kata number 3 is called Heian Sandan. So I'm going to take you through that kata about 3 or 4 times. We're going to do it from me facing the camera initially, predominantly, but also then I'll do it facing away from the camera so you can see the move, how it should be and the direction you should be moving, because sometimes if you're watching the camera you might move in, to the right when I'm actually moving to the left. Okay, if that makes sense, because we're mirrored, aren't we? So just bear that in mind. Okay, so I'm going to go through the kata nice and slow. We'll talk about a few points of it as we do the kata or at the end of the kata, and then I'll run through it a couple of times again. Okay, so here we go. Okay, feet together, and down. Heian Sandan. Okay, so I'm going to just change the position where I start because I came a little bit too close to the camera, okay, on that run of the kata. So you'll be able to see what happens in the middle as I get close towards you. Okay, so same thing again, okay, and just bear in mind the first movement, okay, when it does this, and then this crossing motion, okay, so if you see this crossing motion, okay, it's not window wipers, okay. This motion, okay, is a double striking motion coming out, okay. If you see, my hands are going out a little bit, okay, so as I turn, okay, there's a strike, then there's a double strike again, okay, double strike, okay. So here we go, a little bit further back this time. Heian Sandan. Okay, so that's twice through that kata. One thing in the middle. Okay, so when I do it with my back facing you to begin with, okay, you'll get an idea of this movement. But partway through the movement, it's sort of, you get to this point, okay, and there's a movement that does this. Okay, so lots of people will say this is blocking a kick, okay, or deflecting a kick. Again, I reiterate what I said in the first kata and the second. So here it is again on the third. There are no blocks in kata, okay? So every movement that you're doing, okay, is some form of a strike, okay? Or if it's done in the process of moving, you are moving your opponent, okay? So if I'm turning, obviously that's not a strike. I'm turning my opponent. Okay, but where the hand comes out or the foot comes out, okay, they are all striking movements. Okay, so you're working on, in this instance, okay, could be lower inside portion of the leg that you're striking on your opponent, okay, or as you do that, also this backhand striking up to the head, possibly for an attack there. So just think, where am I attacking or where am I hitting when I do the movements? Okay, so I'm going to repeat the kata facing the other way, so you get to see me coming this way, okay, and partway through the kata. Okay, so I'm going to be here to begin with, and down,
Heian Sandan.
Okay, so hopefully that's given you an idea of how the kata runs. Again, my advice when you're learning katas is don't look at the whole thing and think, oh, I can't do this, I can't get it. Work on the first part of the movement, okay? So when you work your kata, just think, can I get this bit? And if I can do that, can I repeat it on the other side? Okay. Once I've got that, I can then add in the next portion of the kata. And that way you build up your knowledge and make sure every time that you train it, you train that little portion to start first, and then add the next move on, little portion, and add the next move on, and that way you build up. One other key thing with learning katas, okay, is if you're learning your beginning katas, when I learned, I always started with kata number 1, then did number 2, then did number 3. So my suggestion to you, and this is a suggestion, everybody learns differently and you might wish to practice on one kata individually. But my recommendation is to keep the knowledge in your head. Don't give yourself the permission to practice kata number 3 until you've at least gone through kata 1 and 2 first. So that means I need to know kata number 1 and number 2. If I don't know kata number 1, it's no point me learning kata number 2 and 3 yet. So start on number 1, get that in your head. When you're comfortable and you can repeat it all the way through and it's pretty good, then start teaching yourself kata number 2. But don't give yourself permission to do kata number 2 until you've done number 1. Does that make sense? Okay, so we're here to answer your questions. So if you've got any questions on the kata, you can come through to me, either via Facebook, okay, or via Messenger. Here to help. Want to see some of your kata clips as well, so post them through, good, bad and ugly, we'd like to see them all. Okay, see you soon, thanks.